welcome back to the Photography Club. I'm here today with Alexis Puza, or you might also know her as Alexis Rose Photography. Hi, Alexis.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. I met Alexis at photo camp a few years ago. Was that in 2022? 2024,
I think it was
right?
2024, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was really fun. We were actually just talking about it a little bit before the call, and she was telling me how that kind of first sparked her inspiration to get into more of what she does. Can you share, Alexis, maybe a little bit about like photo camp and your experience kind of finding what it is you love to do, and then maybe go into what you do now and what you're focusing on?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I went to photo camp, I was pretty like new into photography, so it was a really good moment for me to just try a little bit of everything and like see what I really loved because I had always started off being like I would love to just work with seniors and couples, like that was always kind of my focus. But when I got to go to photo camp, we were doing studio shoots and we were doing maternity, like there was just so many different things that we were trying. And it was kind of that moment for me. Actually, Sue was a model for one of the shoots that we did. We had three indoor shoots in a studio, and I had never worked with any sort of lighting before, any backdrops. Like, I was terrified to even use a flash at all. And in those moments, I was like, wow, there's just so many cool things that you can do when you learn lighting, and you can even like incorporate styling, you can incorporate colors. Like, there's so many things to when you work into a studio and you can control these kind of things. Like, just where you can go with it. So it really like was a moment for me that I was like, wow, I just love this. I would love to get more into it. So when I got home, I was just constantly like trying to learn a little bit more about it. I would go on like YouTube or TikTok and just kind of like learn anything I could about lighting. And I actually have a little brother, so I would always just make him model for me all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
And he would?
Yes, yeah, he's been doing it since he was like 3 or 4, so now it's just like really
Oh,
natural for him. He's a little model, he plays hockey, and now we do them in the studio here. Um,
wow.
but it's really cool to have like even just doing like free shoots and stuff like that, you can learn so much about what it's really like to learn a new type of photography that you might be interested in. So now I work primarily with dancers and I do a lot of editorial work. And outside of just photography, I've been trying to do more creative direction. So, like, I'll help my clients style, I'll help them come up with a concept. And when I do like concept shoots, I think it's really cool because I get to really dive into this person. I'll be messaging them and I'm like, what's a fashion trend you're really into? Who's someone you look up to in the industry? What kind of music do you listen to right now? And I'll kind of take all of those cues from that and create a few different concepts that I think would really show who they are as a person. So I think that's really fun for me to do.
Wow. That is cool. Yeah, I love to see your process on that, on
Yeah.
kind of styling those. Is there anything else you do? Like, how do you, when you go from there after you ask them that stuff, how do you fully bring it to life and put it together? Do you look for different like props? And like, how do you kind of decide what lighting you're gonna use for it?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the person. Like, I just did a shoot for actually a friend. I asked her to do the shoot. It was a completely free shoot, and I messaged her and I was like, hey, next time you're home, I would love to shoot with you because when you work with dancers, they're in an art. They get what it's like to like try something and like it might not be perfect, but let's just try it and like it's content for both of us. No matter how it goes, like one of us is gonna love the photos, one of us is really gonna love this, and it ended up being great. But she was really into Nessa Barrett, who is a singer. She was really influenced by her. She really liked her style. She liked how she was really moody, all those kind of things. So I really like dug into Nessa Barrett. I'm like on her Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. I'm doing all those kind of things, and I curated a shoot for her with like a deep red backdrop, and we did a very like moody lighting. So I had the light almost above her.
Mhm.
So everything on like this angle of her face was completely darkened. So it just created that kind of vibe that tied it all together, which was really cool. And like that's one of the things I love most about working in this type of world is just like starting from scratch. Like
Yeah.
I'm just basically like, oh, I think this would look really cool on you. Like, what do you think? And usually people are always down for it. Like, they want to do something that's different and out of the box and not the same thing that other dancers that they know are doing, something that helps them stand out a little bit more for agents to see or jobs to see. So I think it's really cool to be a part of that process too.
Yeah, that is really cool. I just recently, like last week, was leading an editorial styled shoot for a retreat in my area, and it kind of forced me to really look into editorial photography and understand like what it is, because that's a
Mhm.
lot of what I used to do as well, was just kind of coming up with these concepts and ideas. And then it really just like clicked for me because editorial photography is so different from couples or even like regular
Yeah,
senior sessions. And that's because when you're photographing like a couple, you're telling the story of their love and their relationship. So you're capturing like the way they look at each other, the way they hold hands and touch each other. And then when you do editorial photography, you're photographing a story or a concept. So you really have to lean into all of the stylistic elements, like the way their
exactly.
hair and makeup is tells a story, the color of the backdrop tells a story, and then the lighting you said too, like having it half shadowed on her face kind of adds to that moodiness that you were really trying to get. And
Yeah.
so that's partly why I love editorial photography because it's like you really have full control over the story that you're trying to tell, and sometimes it can be abstract and like mean whatever you want it to mean. Like it can mean different things to different people. So I think that's so fun about editorial photography.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, like I love digging into fashion. I love digging
Mm,
into like obviously like I think we're in a time right now where everything is kind of like in that loop where everything's coming back from every
yeah.
fashion trend ever. So like even like in my spare time when I'm not trying to find a concept for someone, I'm pinning old magazine campaigns, like just different things that I can pull from and be like, oh, I remember I saw this once. That would be really cool to incorporate with this vision for this person, for this specific vibe that they're going for. It's really
Yeah.
cool to pull from like all the times too.
I know. Do you have the problem of going to the thrift store and like seeing everything for a photo shoot?
Yeah,
It's like
I
I would never wear this, but I know I'll use it one day.
literally, me and my friend, she's actually worked with me on a lot of shoots before. We had this really big shoot that we were doing, and we were setting up like 13 different sets, and we were calling each other, finding things on the side of the road, like literally
What?
like random things like in front of people's houses, like for free. And I was like, oh my gosh, you need to pick that up. Like we could use it for this. We could add this in there. Like you just get
Yeah.
struck by anything you see when you're in this world. Like I don't even know how to explain it anymore. Like
Yeah.
just you can just find inspiration out of anything really.
That's so funny. Yeah, I know. Just like finding the most random stuff. What would you say is the craziest, most random thing that you've ever gotten or photographed for an editorial style?
I don't know if it's like super crazy, but one time I Facebook Marketplace found 13 TVs, like really,
Oh,
really old
yeah.
TVs, and we stacked them up and like we crushed one of them in the shoot. Like we went absolutely crazy on it.
That's so cool. I
Yeah.
always wanted to do something like that, but I never got like actually took the action because then I'm like, what do I do with the TVs
Oh,
afterwards?
literally, yeah, they're just there. I
Yeah.
try to repurpose them sometimes, but it's like it was such a unique thing that I was like, I can't reuse these all the time because it's so unique to them.
Yeah. Okay, so I would love to talk a little bit about maybe experimenting with lighting because studio lighting and artificial lighting is so different from natural and like outdoor lighting. Can you share maybe your process, some struggles that you've faced, and just like how your lighting journey has been for you in switching to doing more studio dancers and
Yeah,
editorial?
absolutely. I think the biggest thing when you're learning lighting or doing anything with lighting is trial and error. There's been so many times where I'm like, oh, I have this vision in my head. I'm watching people do tutorials on it. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm taking all the notes and I do it, and it looks absolutely nothing like what these people are doing. So it's a lot of trial and error. Like you could move a softbox a half of an inch to the right, and it's a completely different look. I think
Mhm.
it's really important to just try it out. Like I said, I would do shoots with my little brother. If I don't have before any shoot that I do with any dancer or anything in the studio, I always put a chair into my backdrop or into the space that I'm lighting so I can actually see like obviously it's going to look different on a person when they're moving around, but it kind of gives you like that base idea of it. I think another really important thing with studio lighting is tethering. I
Oh,
tether
okay.
for all of my shoots. It's so much different seeing it on just the little screen on your camera compared to when you have it on your laptop and you can zoom in and be like, oh, okay, this is way, way too dark over here. But you couldn't really tell on your camera as much. I think it kind of
Interesting.
helps in that way to really like see it a lot bigger too.
So how do you tether? I've never actually tethered. Like I've tried a little bit, but the technical side of it, I'm always like, ah, never mind. So is it difficult to do? What do you do?
I use a tether cord, so there's like only specific cords that you can use for it, and I just plug it right into my camera and I shoot into Capture One. I know some people like depending on your camera, like there's a Canon Connect, there's a Sony version of it, there's a Nikon version
Mhm.
of it, but I really like using Capture One because I use that a lot now when I work with dancers, so it's just kind of easier for me to do it in there. And then I can like crop things down. And it's really cool in Capture One. You can almost put like, if you take one photo and you edit it a little bit, then all the photos that you take after come in like baked with that preset on it. So it kind of just like gives also your client a little bit more of like, oh, this is what it really looks like. It
Oh,
helps them a lot to understand.
do you have like your presets that you use in Capture One? Like are you almost done editing or do you have to go in and still like use all your editing stuff afterwards?
Yeah, I try to do like a little preset. So like after like the first round of like say I'm doing headshots, like after we do one of those, I'll be like, okay, which one is your favorite out of these? I'm gonna take a few minutes and just like do some basic edits on it, and then you can kind of see what it'll look like towards the end of our process. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it after it, but I do like a nice
Mhm.
little base setting so that way it feels a little better for the client too, because it can be scary seeing your face that many times.
Yeah. That is really cool. Have you ever used Evoto?
Yeah.
Have you ever tethered with Evoto?
I have never personally tethered with Uvoto. I've worked with another photographer before who tethers with it pretty consistently. Because it does that same kind of thing. You can do
Yeah.
like all of the retouching and it'll come in like that. So that's really
Yeah.
nice, especially when you're working in like business headshots and kind of stuff like that. That's what she primarily does, and she really
Mhm.
likes it.
Yeah, because I know you can import your Lightroom presets into Evoto, and then you'll
Yeah.
have like you can have it already edited as you're shooting, and then it will do the skin retouching and stuff too. I've never actually done it, but I need to. It's been on my to-do list to try like a
Yeah.
studio shoot tethering with Evoto. So this is inspiring me. I'll have to go try that
Yes,
afterwards. That's really
definitely.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
do
then
I do a lot of stuff in Evoto afterwards, but I don't usually do
mm,
it like right at the beginning because most of the time it's great, but sometimes it does something like really funky and I don't want to like scare a client and be like, "Oh no, I promise this isn't what it's gonna look
that's true.
like."
Yeah. Have you used their background adjustment, like the cleanup?
Yeah, yeah, that is super, super helpful.
It's so
Um,
good.
that's like pretty much what I mostly use it
Yeah.
for. I do like a lot of my like skin retouching and stuff I try to do manually in there, but the backdrop
Yeah.
cleaner is so nice. And like
I
the distraction
know.
removal, it's like life changing.
It's so fast too. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is saving me hours. This sounds like an ad for Evoto. I promise it's
yeah.
not. I
You just really
genuinely
love
am
it.
like, I wish more studio photographers knew about it though, because it seriously is
Yeah.
crazy.
I know. I honestly, I tell people all the time who are like trying to get into the more of this kind of stuff that like message me about it. I'm like, just try it. Like,
Yeah.
I think they do like a few free credits to try it out. Like,
Mhm.
the worst you could do is not like it, but it could definitely save you a lot of time.
Yeah, I was talking to one photographer about it, and she told me that it reminds her of Temu. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of valid. It has like a lot of like colors, a lot of
Yeah, it
things that
does.
don't really make sense, and like, so
It
it
does.
is a little confusing because
Yeah,
it's not like I don't
definitely.
think it's an American
No,
based.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I went to the B&H show last year in New York and I was talking to them there, and I think it is based out of somewhere else.
yeah, yeah. But it is really cool. Okay, um, wait, I'm trying to get back to lighting. I had like other questions for you, but I've been looking into studio lighting a little bit and watching some YouTube videos, and
Yeah.
it's like there's this whole world that I didn't even realize because I watched this one and it talked about I think how you were saying the different ways you can light a face so you can have like half of it dark, half of it light.
Mhm.
And then there was like a butterfly light, which is really
Yeah.
popular Hollywood style, which is like a little shadow under the nose, like
Mhm.
overhead lighting. And I'm like, wow, there's actually so many ways you can manipulate your photo into telling the story even more. Have you experimented with different kind of styles like that in your lighting setup?
Yeah, a lot of the dancers that I work with are actually like, I mean, I've worked with a few months ago. I had two little sisters. They were 2 and 3 years old. They were like baby ballerinas. So I've worked with
Oh.
really young, really, really young kids everywhere in between. But I do work with a lot of pre-professional dancers or professional dancers. So they're all around like 18 and up, 18 to like 20s, I'd say. So a lot of them are always looking for audition photo shoots. So they need like a nice clean headshot. So for
Mm.
a look like that, they need it to be completely clean lighting, no shadows, like they just want it all even. So
Mm.
there's a lighting look I do for that, and then there's when I'm doing like more creative stuff or movement kind of driven things, there's different kind of lighting like I do like that like overhead lighting that you were talking about. I really
Yeah.
love doing that for movement because it creates a lot more dynamic, especially with dancers. They're so strong. You want to show off
Mm.
their lines, you want to show off their muscles, you want to show off all of these things. So playing around with lighting can really extenuate some of these things.
Yeah. I've been trying to really look at my photos and see how I can improve them. And sometimes I'll even put one into ChatGPT and say, like, critique this photo for me and tell me how it could be better. And a lot of the time, it will tell me that one of my struggles is the direction of light. And I never really realized how important that is because it's like something can be lit up, but you need to pay attention to the direction the light is going because it's like, yeah, like you said, like you can either have it facing the subject fully, lighting them up with no shadows, or to the side. And yeah, it's so cool the difference it makes, like the
Yeah, and
moodiness.
even I think like once you learn studio lighting with strobes or flash or whatever you're using, I think it even helps you when you're not using it. Because this week I've had like 4 outdoor photo shoots already this week.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't had an outdoor photo shoot in a few months, so I was there and I'm like, wow, I'm looking at everything so differently. Like I'm using the
Yeah.
sun and the shade in different ways than I was before because I know where I can move it and how it'll look a lot different or like tell more of the story that I'm trying to tell. So it's really cool. Like once you learn it, it's not only going to help you in the studio or in darker lighting, like it'll help you in all the different kind of scenarios.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation on equipment? I know it varies so much, but do you use like the kind where it sets off with your camera? I don't even know the right words.
Yeah, there's strobes, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe I sound like you would never know that I've been a photographer for 7 years.
Yeah, no, I use strobes. They're pro photo strobes.
Okay.
So they are like pretty pricey, but I did get
Yeah.
mine actually used from Lens Rental.
Mm.
So, and
Okay.
there's a lot of different things. Like before I actually bought my own, I would rent and see like what I liked and what would really work well for what I was
Oh,
doing. Because there's so many different brands. Like I know
yeah.
Godox has really good strobes. There's a bunch of different brands that do these kind of things. But this is the pro photos that I have are what I really like to use when I work with dancers, and that's pretty much what I do now. So I was like, I think I
Mhm.
just have to bite the bullet and kind of invest in these.
Yeah, that's really smart to rent because there's even so many different types of soft boxes.
hmm
And yeah, that was my biggest struggle too, was just knowing what to use. So that's really
Yeah,
cool that
there's
you
a
do that.
lot. And like honestly, I always say like just even watching videos, seeing like what people are using to light it a certain way, because like you said, there's so many different kind of
Soft boxes?
soft boxes.
Yeah.
And they're all really expensive. So like
Yeah.
it's nice to just like try one out first and be like, oh, this actually does work really well for what I'm doing. Or maybe this doesn't, so I'm gonna try to rent this one
Yeah.
next week instead. Kind of see
Yeah.
what works best.
I know. I actually just bought my first softbox for my studio, which was really cool. But I use a video light, so my light is always on. I don't connect it to my camera or
Uh,
anything, and then I just can move it around wherever and it'll just always shine, and then I just put a softbox on that, which it works good too. I think
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say it was less expensive than strobe lighting because it was still pretty expensive. But the strobe lighting intimidated me a little bit because someone gave me some that was used and I couldn't figure out how to make it work. So
Yeah,
I,
it's really
yeah.
confusing. Sometimes I turn it on and it still doesn't work, and I have a
Mm,
panic moment of like, oh my gosh, my client is gonna be here in 30 minutes. And I've been using these strobes for like over a year now, and I don't like there's still things I learn about them every day, and it's kind of just that moment where I'm like, okay, take a breath, go back to like the beginning. Am I connected to the right channel? Am I plugged in? Sometimes I forget to plug them in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're broken.
yeah.
So it's just like going back to the basics on all those things and like going through every step and then seeing what might be wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is making me excited to give it another try though and go experiment and see
Yes,
what you can do with your photos.
hmm
Can you give some tips on photographing dancers?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest tips on taking photos of dancers is honestly learning more about dance. It can
Mm,
be really hard to just jump into a shoot, like even like if it wasn't dance, if you were going to take pictures of a football game. If I went to go take pictures of a football game, I would have no idea what I was doing because I don't know anything about football. So like going into dance though, I've grown up dancing. I've danced my whole life, so it's made it a little bit easier for me to learn timing. Makes it a little bit easier for me to look out for certain things like a pointed foot or a straightened leg. Like thinking of those things and being like, okay, is this technically correct? Not just, it might look really cool, but it might not be what the dancer actually wants it to look like. So just kind of knowing those things and giving them little tips like, oh, drop your shoulder here, stretch that leg a little bit more there. And it creates such a different line. So I think learning dance is probably the most important thing, and timing. Timing is really, really important in dance. Whether you're just having them pose or do anything, if they're doing a jump, you have to learn timing for that. If they're freestyling, you don't know what they're going to do. So it's like
mm,
kind of seeing what movement they could be going into next is really important too.
yeah. Yeah, I know. I had a senior one time and she did ballet and she wanted some dance
hmm
photos in my studio. And I took some and I'm like, oh, these are so good. And I showed her and she's like, no, my form is all off. And I'm like, what do you mean? It looks so good.
Yeah, that's a hard thing is like especially like in my opinion, I really do believe in dance, like everything stems from ballet. So it's
Mm,
like knowing all of those technical aspects of it is really helpful because then they'll see it and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you were right. I dropped my shoulder and it made such a big difference." You know what I mean? Just like those small
yeah.
little things that like really push them into the correct position is really helpful for them. And then obviously when you're tethering, they can see it in real time. So that's another thing too that like helps with tethering and stuff is really just like making sure that they can also
Yeah.
see like, "Oh, I'm doing this correct."
Yeah. What are your camera settings typically like for a dance session?
When I'm using my strobes, I'm usually, for my shutter speed, I'm usually at like 1 over 250. Depending, strobes can't go as fast
Hmm.
as you can when you're using like a continuous light or when you're not using any lighting. Like if I'm in a dance class, I might be at like 1 over 600, so I can really get like every single moment. But with strobes, you don't have that capability. So it's really just like they jump and you get one shot. You might have to have them do it a bunch of more times if you can't get it in that one shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really hard. Like I said, like learning timing I think is huge because when they do their split jump, you want to make sure you're getting them in their like highest extension that they can get into, but every person has a different extension and everyone has their own lengths that they can go to. So kind of learning that and making sure you can get that in a few shots is really helpful.
That's where the timing part that you mentioned is really important.
Yeah, especially with strobe lighting. And usually my like ISO for it is pretty low. I usually keep it on like 100 or 200 because I have those strobes bringing all of that light in.
Yeah.
Um, and I usually always have it at f.28 or 2.8, sorry.
28.
Yeah.
2.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's cool. What would you recommend for somebody who wants to book more dancing photos? Like, how do you typically find your clients?
So I actually work not full time, but I do a lot of work for Dance Conservatory, which is actually like a pre-professional program for dancers. So it's like they walk out with agents and they walk out with jobs and that kind of stuff, but they go through a whole training process, kind of like a college for dancers.
Hmm.
So I think that's how a lot of people find me, but I mean, it's typically all on Instagram. honestly, I don't do any other marketing. Like, I haven't figured out how to do anything on TikTok really yet. So
That's
most of my
okay.
stuff is from Instagram, yeah.
Yeah. How did you get in with this dance studio place? Did you get a job there like before being a photographer or?
No, I actually, when I was still I think it was a little bit after photo camp or maybe around that time, but I had been there for almost 3 years now. The dance studio that I grew up dancing at, the owner of the dance studio's son is the one that opened up this dance conservatory, and they were just looking for more photographers and more just production team kind of people.
Mhm.
So she had called me and she was like, "Hey, do you ever work with dancers?" And I was like, "I've done it a little bit, but not a ton yet." And she was like, "Oh, because they're looking for people there." And I was like, "Wow, I would absolutely love to go talk to them about it, like anytime." So then I ended up doing a summer intensive, which is kind of like a summer camp there for 3 weeks. And then they asked me to stay for another. And then I kind of just, not never left, but I just stayed there for a long time. Like I just kept doing shoots with them and doing classes. And now I'm there pretty often.
That's so cool. Okay, so maybe go see if there's any local dance
Yeah.
studios in your
Yeah, I think it's
area.
really important to like I'm always messaging dance studios. I will
Oh,
cold
okay.
DM places all the time and
Mm-hmm.
I don't always get an answer. I'm just like, "Hey, this is my portfolio. You can look at my Instagram. I work with dancers regularly. I would love to like showcase your dancers and show what they can do." A lot of the times when I work with studios, the dancers will get their individual assets and then I'll make a big folder for the dance studio to use for their marketing. So it's kind of like not only a win for the dancers, but it's also like the studio can use all of these photos for their marketing assets too. So it helps both of them in that way.
Yeah, that is smart because then they're probably going to be more likely to recommend you
Yeah,
to
yeah,
anyone who
exactly.
needs some.
Yeah.
Um, how do you help your clients feel comfortable going into a photo shoot?
I will always have music going in my studio whenever I'm
Oh,
doing a dance shoot.
especially for dancers, that's so good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, dance is such movement driven, but it's obviously
Hmm.
mostly driven by music too. So
Yeah.
having music on and like knowing like, oh, everyone's listening to this new Tate McRae album. Everyone's listening to this. Everyone's listening to that. I'm always trying to play that music that I know that they're really gonna like, so they feel comfortable. They're just like, okay, I'm just in the studio right now. I don't need to be worried about this. I don't need to be stressed. And when they come in, I explain to them like I mean, if they're booking a shoot with me, they've probably seen my work. They know what I do. But I like to just like emphasize to them like I grew up dancing too. If there's something that I'm not really explaining correct to you, I'll just show them what I'm doing. I'm like I'm not going to look like you're going to look doing it, but I'll look crazy and do this jump right now just to show you. Just to make like I don't care if I look
Yeah.
silly doing it. I want to make sure you feel comfortable doing it. And I always tell dancers too like if I do something and you're like, I that looks crazy, I do not want to do that, like tell me. I'm not going to be offended. I will come up with something that feels better on you. But I
Yeah.
also like any shoot, like if you're working with a couple, if you're working with a senior, like I look at their Instagrams I before they come into the studio. I watch videos of them dancing. I figure out what their strengths are so I can bring that into the shoot and make them feel as best as they can and like show off things that are really unique to them too.
Ooh, that's a really good point. Yeah. Do you ever look at their Instagram and see if they have any dance photos already and kind of like what angles they like? Do you pay
Yeah,
attention to that too?
yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like in dance, it's actually so huge to have professional assets done. If you're going to an audition, you need a headshot and you might need a full body photo of you.
Mm,
And you need videos on your page and you need all of this stuff. So, like, these dancers usually have a pretty amazing Instagram going for themselves. They have videos of them dancing. They might have a modeling shoot on there. They might have done a dance shoot before. So, I'm like, okay, they clearly are really strong on their left side doing this specific leg. What's something else that is similar to that but isn't the same exact thing so they're not getting more of the same photos, but like what can I make out of what they're really good at that's unique to them? That isn't
yeah.
doesn't feel like the same pose that everyone else is doing, you know?
That's so good. And dancers, anytime I have a client, I can usually tell if they have a dance background. Like
Yeah,
even just doing senior photos, they are usually really photogenic. And the way they move is so graceful too. They're
yeah,
so
they're
fun to
just so
photograph.
natural. And it's like dance is so emotional. I think it's really
Yeah.
cool to like capture some of those emotions of like when you're jumping in the air and something is really elegant or you're doing a hip hop shoe and it's like a totally different vibe. Like there's so many different aspects to dance and I think that's really cool to like go through that journey of it too.
Yeah, that is really cool. Oh, I just forgot. I actually wanted to ask you one more lighting question because on your Instagram, you have the picture of like the group of dancers in the studio area. You know what photo I'm talking about?
Yeah, with the
That
white
is
background.
so good. Yeah. First of all, I love the way you posed them, or like the way the picture is just
Thank
laid
you.
out. The composition is really good. And the lighting is really good too, because sometimes I bring my senior model team to my studio, but I really struggle with lighting, especially in group settings. So I was
Yeah.
curious what your lighting setup was for that.
For that specific shoot, so that shoot, I completely built that shoot. So that was like an end of year show campaign kind of for our dancers. So we had just like a small group of dancers. And for that shoot, I actually had one main light like above my head, shooting
Okay.
right above my head with a really big umbrella on it. So that way it casted over all of them. And
Hmm.
then I had one light in the back facing the backdrop. So the backdrop was lit as well. So it was really just like a nice even, and then I went in with some like editing and changed some
Yeah.
shadows and things like that. But that shoot was definitely one of my favorite shoots I've ever done. It was so special. Like I got to
Yeah.
style them for everything. I got to create the
Wow.
concept. Yeah, it
Wait,
was
how
really
did you? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're okay.
How did you style them? Because their outfits all look so good too. So what was your process with that? Where did you find the outfits and all of
So
that?
I actually just put together Pinterest boards.
Okay.
So it was for CLI where I do all that work at. We needed an end of year photo shoot for our end of year show that we do. So the goal was to try to think of a theme for the photo shoot that really like encapsulated the class. And I was like, I had so many different things in mind, but I was like, honestly, this class was so fashionable. They were all so cool. It was really fun to just dig into like fashion trends and see like really give that like 2000s editorial vibe. So I sent them a bunch of Pinterest boards, color palettes, textures that I really wanted to be included, and said, if you have any of this stuff in your closet, bring all of it. Like, bring anything that you have in these colors. And some of them would send me photos of it before so they didn't have to bring everything in their closet. But,
Uh-huh.
so I might say, like, oh, maybe let's try a shirt that is this shade a little bit more, or if they had another option, or this looks great, maybe add a pair of sunglasses with it. And I told them, like, bring as many accessories as you can. Bring anything that makes you think of the 2000s. Like, it was really cool to really, like, build that up, too.
Yeah, that is really cool. When you're styling groups, hold on, I'm gonna pull up this picture right now so I can look at it. Is there anything, because I know for family photos, I usually tell people to have each person have their own personality in their outfit, like no matching stuff.
Yeah.
Was that kind of your approach with that too?
Yeah, and I think it was really good, especially with this group of dancers, that they all did have such different personalities. Like, I knew none of them were going to show up in the same outfit. They all had such a cool
Hmm.
style and already so unique that I was like, I kind of just sent them, like I said, the color palettes, the textures that I thought would be really cool to be included, and was like, bring all of this stuff, but don't go and buy anything. Like, I know you all
Really?
have things in your
Yeah.
closets for this. Like, you are all have a lot of good fashion, and I know your closets are stacked with this kind of clothes already. So just bring pieces that would work.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I'm gonna overlay the photo on the podcast if you're watching on YouTube, but
Yes.
yeah, basically it's just this group of dancers and it just looks so good. You'll have to look at it. Um, how did you go about directing a bigger group like that? Because the pose itself, like this looks like it belongs in a magazine, Alexis. This is
Oh,
so good.
thank you so much.
It-
I actually for this shoot, I made myself a shot list because not only did I do that big group photo, I split them all up into duos and trios, and I did individual photo shoots for all of them too. In like 2 hours, we did this entire shoot. So I kind
wow.
of had a shot list in mind of like who I wanted to
Okay.
be where. But in this specific photo, I would go up to each person and say, okay, I want you on this side. And I would put them all where I wanted them first. And then I would say, okay, actually, I think we need a little bit more of a layer right here. Like, we need a level. Can you squat down and try this and look over this shoulder? Like, I would work with them all individually so then they weren't all doing the same thing too.
Yeah. Did you tell them anything emotionally? Because they all are doing like the best faces too. I know that's probably kind of a dancer thing as well, but I'm
Yeah.
curious if that was more set in the mood board in the planning process or if you told them in the moment kind of what to think about and do with their faces.
Yeah, I definitely told them that it's like a big thing right now is just like mogging is what
Yeah.
everyone's calling it. And it's just that really like it's just that face that they're all doing. They're all so good at it, especially in the dance world. Like that's what they're doing all the time. So I knew it would come really natural to them. So I was just like, just pose for me. Just be you. Like I know you were all gonna look amazing doing this. So yeah, I didn't have to give them too much direction on that. Like I said, when you're working with dancers and other creatives, they kind of just lock in and they're like, okay, I'm ready for this. They were all super excited about it, so I think that they all really knew what they were doing.
That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, I would love to see more from that. Have you posted any more of that?
No, I actually like that's on my to-do list because I did a lot of cool edits on it too. Like I glitched
Ooh.
faces and I did
Yeah.
like multiple of same people. Like I did a lot of like intense editing on those, so I need to drop some of
Okay,
those.
I'm gonna be waiting for those. I love that. Okay, what is something in your business that you're working on, excited for, or a goal you have?
I know you do your senior rep team. I've been like really thinking about doing a dance ambassador program.
I love that idea. That is so cool.
I've seen a few dance photographers do it, and there's this one
Uh-huh.
photographer who does absolutely like she is like the queen of dance ambassador program. I admire her so much. I look up to her so much. Her name's Cinemati on Instagram. She's phenomenal, and I've always looked up to her work so much, and I think it's so cool that she like makes a community out of it. And I don't know like the extent of what she does, but I do know your senior rep program and when Preston used to do it and all those kind of
Yeah.
things. And I've just like I think you actually did a class on it at photo camp, so I still have all my notes from like how to kind of run these things. And I've been really thinking about it. And yesterday, actually, I posted on my Instagram story because I tried to do a senior rep team and it just didn't work out a few years ago. So I was like, this time before I like really do the work and plan all of this, like I'm gonna see if people are even interested first. And it had a really good response, really quick, actually. Like
Ooh.
within like 10 minutes it had like 20 yes votes and I was like that is I
Wow.
don't have a huge following that people are just like looking at my stuff all the time, so I was like, oh wait, this is kind of cool, like maybe
That
people are
is
gonna be
so
really into this.
cool.
And it's up to I think it when I just checked it before it had like 130 votes on it all for a yes, so I was like I think that I actually should really look into this, and I think it'd be cool to do instead of like one team kind of break it up into levels like age groups almost
Oh,
because
and
I
have
work with a lot of
multiple?
younger dancers, but then I also
Yeah.
work with like professional choreographers. So like it's hard to
Yeah.
like have them in the same world. So I think it would be really cool to almost do like age levels of it and do applications and like something that I really love that you do with your rep team is like you have parties, you have get-togethers, like you create
Yeah.
that community and I think that would be so cool, especially in the dance world because the dance world can be kind of scary sometimes and intimidating. So I think it'd be cool to just like create a space where everyone's equal, everyone's meeting each other, people from around the country can meet each other like that. That would just be so amazing.
That would be so cool. I never thought about like a dance rep team, but that's so true. You can have rep teams no matter what niche you're in.
Yeah.
So that is really cool. Do you wait, let me see. I was gonna ask you something, but I forgot. But yeah, I really love that idea. Um, I don't know, is there anything that you're kind of like, do you have a plan of like how you're gonna get it started or
No, this
anything
was
that you're,
literally all like last
yeah,
night. I was like, oh, I wasn't really expecting that much of a response for it. So now, like
yeah,
today, this week, next week, I'm really gonna try to like lock in and listen to some podcasts, watch some videos, kind of
yeah,
see what people are doing because it's so much more than just like the shooting and doing all this stuff, it's like the discount codes, all this kind of stuff. It's like I don't know that kind of side of it, so I think that's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm excited to kind of
Yeah.
dive into it and see like what I can do.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I mean, if you ever want to compare it to rep teams, I can help you like build a structure because I've done a lot of studying of rep teams.
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
I have a friend who's trying to put together a team right now, and she's kind of in that same stage. She's reaching out to people, DMing them to see if they would be interested. One
Mm,
thing she's doing is she's putting together a free shoot with a group of people. She's like telling them to bring their friends and all of them just so that they can get a taste of what it's going to be like.
mm.
And then during that, she's going to ask them questions like, what would make it worth it for you? Like,
Yeah, that would be
what
really
stuff would
cool.
you actually like to have in a program like this? So then
Mm.
she's getting some really good feedback from that.
Yeah,
But
that's so awesome.
yeah,
Reach
I'm
out to some of
excited.
those around. Me too. It's like I said, it was just like I was like, I'm just gonna post and like see, put a feeler out, and then I didn't really think about it, and then I was like, oh, I think this is gonna be something that I have to actually look into and kind of like really do, which I'm super excited about. Like I said, I think it'd be really cool to create a space that the little kids can look up to these older kids who are in the same program as them, but doing something completely different, like just creating good role models and creating good community aspect too, and
Oh,
having some fun
yes.
photo shoots.
Yeah. And the amount, not the amount, but the creative photo shoots you could plan with these dancers,
I know.
like just
I'm like
having,
dreaming about it already.
what would be your dream photo shoot? Do you have any ideas?
I would love to work with water. That's been on
Yeah.
my board for a long time, is to do something where like dance specific that I have like a room that I could just like fill with water and do
Ooh,
like the splashes and the jumps and just like
yeah.
create that kind of vibe. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, that is so cool. I'm taking my model team to Pink Lake this year.
Oh
Do
my
you, are you
gosh.
familiar with Pink Lake at all in Salt
Yeah,
Lake City?
I see
Yeah.
it on TikTok all the time.
Yeah, that would be so cool with dancers. I feel like,
It'd be really cool.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to see if I know any Colorado dancers.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
well, thank you so much, Alexis. Do you have anywhere else you can share where people can find you?
Yes, I am on Instagram, and my Instagram is Alexis Rose Photography, but it's two Y's at the end.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.